talk about real estate, particularly in the Yacht Club, give you an idea as to what you see and what's going on. The Yacht Club is the oldest area, Cape Coral. Some of the houses here were built in the late 1950s, probably early 1960s. So one thing you get a wide variety of homes here. A lot of the homes here are on the water, some are on the river, like the ones here on the left-hand side, me, are riverfront property. The ones here on the right are not. These are not on water at all. So this is kind of like a circle going on. This is Dolphin Drive in Cape Coral. This is one of three, I guess you could call them a peninsula, that exist in this area. Dolphin is one, Bayshore is another, and Coral is the other one. Dolphin comes first, it's right by the beach, the Yacht Club area, and also the next one is Coral, and the last one is Bayshore. But one side of that will be on the river, and as we look around on the far right side and move around, you're actually on one of the widest canals in the Cape, sitting right at 200 square feet. I mean, not 200 square feet, I mean 200 feet wide, so it's pretty wide. Now the houses down in this area, you can buy a house anywhere from high twos, but it's going to be pretty basic, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, maybe 1 or 2 car garage, 1 car garage, and maybe 1 or 2 baths is what you're going to see. And then you can go, sky's the limit basically. I think there's one on Riverside Drive, currently listed at 11 million or more. If that one does sell, that will be the highest priced home that we've had sold in Cape Coral. Now, so this is February 2024. We did have one a couple months ago that sold in the zip code 33904, but not in the Yacht Club area, and it sold for over $6 million. And that was a brand new home. There are a couple others priced in that range as well. I know one of the houses here did go under contract. One of these is currently listed, and I think we're on a contract in the 2.2, 2.3 range. And there's another one down here, newer home, that's listed for sale as well. And I think that might be in a 3.5 mil, I'm not 100% sure. But even some of the older homes, people do a nice job of doing them up, as you can see the one here on the right. So some people might think, well, you've got these older homes on the right hand side, does not affect the value of the guys on the left on the river. Nope, makes no difference whatsoever. This is Florida, just typically the way it is. The other thing you notice when we come down here is that nobody goes real fancy on the grass. Even the new homes may have newer sod in them, but people don't go crazy. So a lot of times people just leave the grass the way it is, because grass isn't really natural to our area. I used to live in Ohio, used to have the fine lawn fescues, Kentucky 31s. Those just wouldn't last down here at all. I just couldn't take the heat. So the grass we get here is not really natural. But obviously people do put some in. The other thing too as well is if you want to avoid putting fertilizer that can get out into the river and into the canals. This is a nice day, so this is February right here. Said you've got a mixture of old and new homes, and so that's fairly typical of the area down here. It's not uncommon, particularly if you've got an older home on a canal, that for it to get torn down and they'll build a new house. Like this one come up on the left, next to the big truck, there's a new home that just got built right here. So you get very modern houses that are pretty high in here. And again, you can have the older stuff on the right hand side. You're typically not allowed to have a motorhome parked. You can probably park it for a couple days or so, and that's like what these guys are doing as well. So we'll swing around the corner and be on the back side where the canal is 200 feet wide. Okay, so the house next to me is listed at $4,500,000. That one is. So I'm swinging around the other side now. So we're moving off the riverside. You see the riverside here to my left. You're probably wondering, from Hurricane Ian, did this area get flooded? Unfortunately, the answer to that question is yes, it did. It didn't get to the point where the water was up to the roofs and stuff, but they did get a couple of feet of water in these, and they've since been put back together, a lot of them being remodeled internally, and that's why you still see maybe some skips out and some of the things that we passed. But the Yacht Club area, a lot of it is fairly low elevation, so the older homes did take a bit of a brunt, the new ones not so much. Okay, so this is one thing we're pretty famous for down here, is the burrowing owls. You can see there are a lot of these on people's lots and stuff. Now if you get those on your property, can you still build? Yes, you can. You just can't do it. So I swung around the backside here. Now we're on this left-hand side is going to be the 200-foot wide canal. This home here actually was another home that existed here at one time, and it was torn down, and that home was built in its place right there. But I said that again is direct access, 3-car garage, 200-foot wide canal. This one side is northern exposure. If on the other side you're on the end of the canals, and you will get southern exposure on those. But again, this is fairly typical of Cape Coral. Now again, boats, are you allowed to have boats and trailers down here? Technically not, no. If you do have a boat, it has to be on the side or in the back of the yard behind a fence where it's not visible. So you can't just leave it out there, or else you'll get a ticket. And you may get away with that for a while until somebody actually reports you, and maybe not do that at all. There is a lot coming up for sale right here on the left. This again is on a 200-foot wide canal. I think this one is now standing at $800,000. It's a deeper than normal lot. Most lots are 80 feet wide by 125 feet deep. This one is probably about 150 feet deep, but it is on a 200-foot wide canal. So if I'll go take a look and I'll show you. So this is a 200-foot wide canal. So I'm on Dolphin Drive. So this is on the back end of it. So what's behind me is actually the river. But this is on the canal. This is one of the widest canals in the southeast part of Cape Coral. And this is direct access. You can see you have a pretty good sized boat. And the river's just right around the corner. So it's really good access. So that just tells you a little bit about the area, of what we're seeing and stuff. So, so this is the Yacht Club area, Cape Coral, zip code 33904, the older area, and I'm on a vacant lot right now, as you can see. You can actually pick up a home down here on the water right around the 500 range. That's probably where your baseline starts. You might get a little bit lower, but what you're generally getting is something that's basically a tear down that somebody will build on, because the house will be old and need a lot of work, because the land value down here on a lot, particularly if it's an 80-foot wide canal, will be about $500,000. Now the ones here on the left, these wide canals, it's higher. That's why I said the one behind me where I just was priced like $800,000 on that one. But again, as I said, you will get a mixture of all the new houses. The one with a 3-car garage come up on the left, I sold that one a couple of years ago. Right there. But on the right, again, is the landlocked, the older stuff that you've got right there. But again, you'll get a mixture of all the new homes right in this neighborhood. And pretty much anywhere in the Yacht Club is going to be like that. So as you walk down the street, you will actually get new homes even being built off water, like the one here on the right. So people will still build a new home even though they're not in the water on here. We're coming up to another new property down here on the left that you can see just popping up beyond these two vans. Right here is supposed to be one of the newer properties that will have been built in the area in the last couple of years, right here. And most of the time these are going to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, maybe 3-bath. It will have, this one might have a 3-car garage. 3-car garage is not that uncommon on the new builds. Private impact windows. But again, this is a fairly good idea of what you see going on in the Yacht Club area. And so this is the oldest area of Cape Coral. Homes here from 1960s up to brand new. That's the prices anywhere from the high twos up to $12 million, all over the place on that. So we are back in the southeast area of Cape Coral, and this is a waterfront property, a listing of mine. But this is fairly typical of the older area of Cape Coral. Houses here can date anywhere from 1960s up till new. But this is the canal. And you can see we've got a boat coming down right now here. And it's probably about a 20-minute trip to the river from here. Just run south, head all the way down. That's what you do. But this is not direct access. There is a bridge you have to go under to get under on this one. And this is fairly typical of a lot of the canals in Cape Coral that are not direct access. So this is typical southeast home, somewhat different from the northwest. If you look at my videos of the northwest, you find the canals are somewhat wider, homes are a lot newer. But this is typical southeast Cape Coral. Okay, so this is another street here in southeast Cape Coral. Again, this is zip code 33904. One side of here, on the right hand side, these houses are on the canal. They are what we call direct access, no bridge, and they have pretty good access out to the river. I have a couple homes I've sold in here. I just have a listing in this area right now. But as you can see, as we walk down the street, you have a mixture of homes, anywhere from the 1970s up until maybe the early 2000s. This area is pretty well built out. There's not a lot of vacant property in this area, so you won't find a lot of new construction going on in here. But this is fairly typical of the houses that you see. One of the ones here on the right is probably one of the newer homes here. A customer of mine actually owns that one. I sold that to him a couple of years ago. We also run a snowbird business. My son has that, so he monitors that property for them, make sure everything's okay, does a weekly check on it. But as we go down into this location right here, and if I run to the left here, I'll find that I think both sides of the street are on the canal. In fact, if you look to the left there a little bit, you can see a canal. So that gives you an idea. Another area in 33904. This is pretty typical of what you see with waterfront around. Okay, so I am again in the southeast part of Cape Coral. This is again zip code 33904. This particular area is real close to the southwest. It's very close to one of the main intersections, Santa Barbara Boulevard, which that side on the west side becomes southwest, but this side is southeast. The interesting thing about the houses in this area and the streets, they actually are named, but typically you associate a named street with access to what's called the Yacht Club area. This area does not have access to the Yacht Club. You have to drive to it from here, but the street is named. The house that you saw behind me, the new one's been built. It's actually been built by a customer of mine. An interesting thing about this area is you do get a lot of new homes being built. So like you can see the one here to the right coming up. So both sides of the street here are going to be on the water, as you can see. But you will have a mixture of old homes, but we do see more homes in this neck of the wood that are being torn down and replaced by newer ones. So this is that street, Saxony. There's, I said, a lot of other streets like that down here too, but this is fairly typical of what we see going on in this area here now. So like I said, you got like this left side, you have older homes right here. Some of these could date back to possibly the 1960s, like the one on the left here, but there's a fair amount of value in the land. So you'll see people either updating them on the inside, or they will eventually get torn down and you'll see some of the bigger homes being built, just like you see on the left here. So that my customer, we actually build too. We are builders as well, so we're not just a real estate company. We own Lauren Homes. It's run by Fred and Lauren Price. They do some nice quality homes, kind of middle of the road. If you want higher end, then the ones that one of my customers built, and I've had another customer built by them, is Tundra Homes, and that's the one that's come up on the right that you can see. But they're a really good quality builder. I know the owner, I know the people that work there, and they've been around a long time and have a really good reputation. But again, this is a typical example what you see with some of the areas. So next area I'm going to show you is an area where there is no waterfront at all. It kind of is on some outer edges, but the blocks where I'm going to show you are not, and just give you an idea what the homes are in that area in the same zip code. So I've concentrated on some of the waterfront areas in Cape Coral. But this is in zip code 33904. This is a southeast section right here, and these homes are not on the water. So this is typically what you're going to find. You'll have a combination of homes with and without a pool. Homes will date probably from the 1960s, like the one on the left here is one of the older homes in the area. But there is a new home being built in this location as well. So as I walk down the street, typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath. There are some 2-bedrooms here. House prices probably start in the high 200 range, probably 275, 300. But again, you're looking at a 2-2, could even be a 3-2, but fairly small. If you're looking for a pool home, you're probably in the high 3s, closer to 400, and that'll be something that will need some work as well. So as I said, this is a fairly typical neighborhood that you see in Cape Coral when you walk around or drive around. As I said, most people here, we typically don't have the grass looking really super fancy, because grass is not really a Florida thing like you see in other parts of the country. You don't see your fine lawn fescues and stuff like that. But you will get a mixture of homes that will go from the 1960s, most 80s, 90s, 2000. But if there is a vacant lot, you'll have a chance of having something new built on the street. There is actually, we'll go past a home around the corner that is a new build, just to show you as an example right here. Now the one thing about this area right here, we are on Del Prado. If you're heading north on Del Prado from Cape Coral Parkway, we are on the west side. And the one thing about this location right here is you don't have to have flood insurance. This area is not on a flood zone at all. So, so if you got somebody, just starting off buying a home, this is a good spot to be in. It's centrally located, this area right here. You are close to two bridges kind of in the middle between the Midpoint Bridge and the South Cape Coral Parkway Bridge right here. But again, this is just fairly typical of the neighborhoods that you'll see driving around. One thing we do lack here is sidewalks. So there are no sidewalks, but most people will just generally walk on the side of the road and stuff, and walk the dog around and things like that. So I'll show where this new home is. So this is again the southeast section of Cape Coral. This area here is on city water and sewer. As I mentioned, this particular block, you aren't required to have flood insurance because we're not on the flood zone. But you are pretty close to Del Prado Boulevard. That's the main route. Restaurants are very far away from here, things like that. So it's quite a nice neighborhood, pretty much typical working class in here, as you can see. Now you can see there's a new home we're gonna go by down here on the right that just got built. That one was 1,600 square feet, It was on the market, I think, at 379. It wasn't on the market very long, and it went on a contract pretty quickly. And this is in February of 2024. But it said you're located in this area right here, and you don't need to carry flood insurance. Now, this particular block, the outer edges of it is on the water, so it's kind of like in a mini peninsula in a way, where the center of the block is not waterfront, but the outer edges are. Now, waterfront on this area won't be as expensive as it is on the other side of Del Prado because the access difference, because here you have to go behind a bridge to get under the road to get out to the river. Instead of maybe taking 15-20 minutes, it might take you 30 minutes to get to the river. So your houses will be less than what would be on a direct access one, or basically you might get a newer house for the same amount of money. That gives you an idea as what you're going to see in typical 33904 zip code.